Pringles have a special place in snack history, introducing a complete game changer as soon as it hit shelves. They've been around since 1968, and they've become one of the most famous snacks in the world. Just imagine it for a second. A cylindrical can or container perfectly fitting a Pringle with its unique crispness. With them acquiring such popularity explains why Pringles sales reach up to $3 billion every year. That's an impressive number right there. Let me ask you a question here, though. Do you feel that Pringles reached such Goliath status just because of luck? Well, I'll tell you this much. The world-famous snack owes its success to Frederick Bauer, who was a Procter & Gamble chemist who played a key role. When Bauer first got the idea, he clearly had a vision of creating something that revolutionized the market and eliminated all the complaints that people had with the traditional potato chip. Some of the common complaints were chips that broke in the bag and bags of chips that were filled with empty space. The goal was in his head. He just now had to go out and make something that was guaranteed to be crispy. Enter Pringles, comically shaped potato chips packed into a container with perfect specifications. However, here's the catch. Since Pringles are made of dehydrated potato flakes instead of whole potatoes, they weren't actually classified as potato chips, which was a big problem, particularly with the FDA. In 1975, they ruled that Pringles must be referred to as potato crisps in the USA, which was reasonable in terms of North America. Yet in the UK, where crisps are already known as potato chips, this created some misunderstanding. So in reality, what ingredients go into these tasty crisps and what is their preparation? So you probably will be surprised to learn this is how it happens, and even more so, it's completely captivating. Now let's step into the Pringles factory and take a look at the process of turning a simple potato into everyone's favorite subsidiary snack of a TV show begins. Receiving potatoes. The quality of every Pringle starts with the acquisition of large batches of fresh, high-quality potatoes. For every Pringle, there are these exact spuds. Though these aren't just any potatoes. These potatoes are oiled in such a way that only these kinds of the potatoes make their way to the processing line. The moment these potatoes reach the plant, they're sent to the cleansing station by being moved to the conveyor belt. However, this isn't just an average cleaning session. The washing process is rather intense, as the grate of potato is put in a big tank from where the system of hydro washer is able to mix the water around, thus removing any potential contaminants that might have persisted on the surface of the potato. It's almost like giving the potatoes a gentle spa massage so they're dirt-free and set for the following procedures. After the potatoes have been washed, the next stage follows, which is the peeling stage. You might consider peeling a potato to be easy, but at a potato manufacturing facility, it's considered art. Large drums containing every potato can be shaped and wrought through layers of sandpaper, giving every potato a roughly smooth surface. In addition, the skin is completely stripped without the need for industrial effort, thanks to the skins being delicately agitated by the rough surface of the drum. After the skin gets removed, the next process begins, which involves further cutting, but not before going through initial phase of scorching first. Blanching. The process can be described as quick as it is important. Blanching. The entire process lasts no longer than a few seconds on paper, as placing the prepared tools in a blanched tub creates coating around the potatoes, making it easier forming their cuts and boosting the cut without compromising the macronutrients of the potato. This ensures that there is no further damage done to the protein undergoing the pneumonia process. Cutting. Once the potatoes are blanched, the next step is cutting them into smaller pieces. But it's not as simple as using a knife and cutting board. The potatoes are loaded in a large barrel that rotates at around 1,000 revolutions per minute. As the potatoes rise upward, they come into contact with sharp edge blades, which also cease their upward travel and cuts them into smaller strips. And then additional blades mash the smaller strips into tiny cubes. It is obvious that this step is critical because it creates the correct size and shape for the next operation, a movement that lasts in the blink of an eye. But you'll have to trust me that it helps the other processes function properly. After the potatoes have been diced, they're sent through a conveyor belt in order to be cooked. Now it's time to cook, but it's not the way that you're thinking. Potato cubes are dropped onto a vibrating conveyor belt. The vibrations keep cubes apart and shape problems in the latter stages. Cameras periodically scan for any dark or blemished areas on the potatoes so that only the best while progressing to that phase. In other words, we boil the cubes for about 2 minutes at 185 degrees Fahrenheit. Although this appears to be a short time interval, it's enough to avoid potatoes being turned to mush in the later preparation, which is the steam cooker. The cubes will be steam cooked. This will be done using a steam cooker, which is said to be a big machine with steam cooking spaciousness that welcomes the cubes rolling in at 345 degrees Fahrenheit. That ensures that the crucial potatoes will be completely steamed, and they'll wait for the next phase. Mashing. Well, now the real fun begins. Once the cuboids are cooked, they are transferred to a giant industrial barrel and pressed into a lump-free paste mash. The smooth paste is what makes Pringles have that same finish from the end. There's an oversized metal piston that smashes the potatoes against the wall of the drum in a continual motion until the potatoes turn into a creamy stick. But that is the actual bottom from which every Pringles is made from. Not anything fancy, yet it's about to get a whole lot more interesting. Drum drying. Then comes potato mash, which goes through a drastic change as well. The mash is applied uniformly on a massive rotating dryer drum. Drying them with a rotating hot drum causes the water to evaporate and thin, supple sheets to remain. This process is very important given that it locks in the taste and the structure of the potatoes, and it readies the mash for grinding into floury flakes, which will be the basis of the Pringle dough. Milling. The potato sheets are first taken through a drying process, followed by the use of a milling machine. The sharp blades of the machine then cut the dried sheets into small, evenly sized flakes. At first glance, the texture appears similar to sand, or even cereal flakes from a breakfast cereal company. But trust me, soon you're going to see them as the base of a mind-blowing snack. Now that the flakes are prepared, it's time to incorporate them into a dough that will serve as the foundation of each Pringle. Potato flakes are added along with several other ingredients like water, cornstarch, rice flour, wheat starch, and several others into a massive mixer. This ensures that the combination works well and doesn't spoil throughout the process. Once everything is incorporated and all of the required ingredients are added, the dough is quite similar to coarse sand that is wet. It's nothing like the dough that you're probably accustomed to for baking bread. However, it is just what is required to manufacture Pringles. After preparing the dough, the next step is rolling. The dough is placed onto a heavy-duty roller, which presses the dough with 4 tons of force and provides a thin sheet with a thickness of 1 millimeter. At this point, if you didn't know it was made from potato flakes, you'd probably mistake it for a giant sheet of paper. It's that thin. Eventually, as the dough travels along the conveyor belts, it is then oval-shaped cut. This is where the magic happens. You can almost see the iconic Pringle shape starting to form. These ovals are affectionately called by the workers as doyles. It's an amusing name that forms part of the factory practices. Any leftover dough that isn't used isn't wasted. It's gathered and put back in the mixer for reuse, which reduces waste and maintains the movement of the system. Now we're ready to fry the rolled snack since the dough is prepared. The ovals are then placed into a fryer where a large roller molds them into their signature saddle shape. To speak in specific terms, this form is known as a hyperbolic paraboloid. Remarkably, that's geometry. For about 11 seconds, the Pringles cook in hot oil at a temperature of 392 degrees Fahrenheit. This step is crucial in ensuring that the shape is retained and the golden crispy finish is achieved. After cooking, Pringles are sent through hot air blowers to get the oil off, which cools it down to approximately 104 degrees Fahrenheit. They are then prepared for what is the final phase, that is seasoning. At this point, things start getting interesting. The newly fried Pringles on the conveyor belt pass beneath a giant shower of seasonings, a process that is brutally polarizing. Every one of the Pringles flavors, whether it's sour cream and onion, pizza, the old salted classic, are manufactured. Since there's no short force in the loving amount of seasoning for every chip, notably, Pringles season their various flavors with more than 5,952 pounds of spices every day. That's a lot of flavor. As soon as the chips are seasoned just right, they can be put into the iconic cylindrical cans. But before they're packed, they need to be shaken a little. A special conveyor belt helps each chip have separation with other chips by giving it a gentle shake. The cartons of Pringles are weighed so that the right amount is set into the cans, and an automated machine slides them into the opening of the canisters. The sealed noses of the cans are likely to keep the crumbled chips as crispy as the time of making. Well, now look at that. The intricate creativity and precision in all the technologies involved have led to millions of Pringles being produced every single day. The entire procedure of picking out a potato to the final step of adding a dash of seasoning, the Pringles are manufactured with the highest scrutiny so that when we go to the store, we get the best product possible. It's incredible, right? The next time you snack on a Pringle, know that there were thousands of hours poured into research and development into what goes on creating the can. The entire formation of a chip is unparalleled engineering, sharp timing, and the right amount of modification. So next time, do appreciate the brainchild behind that delicious bite size of perfect crisp.